this month's Geek Battle Cry of thank yous and shoutouts go first to our Patreon supporters, Bada, Chris, Clay, Donna, Ryan, and Silver Gataman.
If you love our logo as much as we do, be sure to visit the To Improve Your Day page on Facebook to see more of Travis's work.
If our intro gets stuck in your head as it does ours, be sure to check out the musician, Pepper Coyote, on Spotify, or you can purchase his work directly from his Bandcamp page.
Also, be sure to check out our greater family of geekery.
If you've enjoyed some of our commissioned art pieces, be sure to check out Quack Quack Honk Designs at www.quackquackhonk.com.
For more geek news, be sure to listen in every Thursday at the Geek Awakens podcast, hosted by Mitch Ladd.
If you enjoy 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons, be sure to join DM and friend of the show, Pat Rickert, every Monday night for Loaded Dice Adventures on Twitch.
If you have the need for plasti-dipped weapons for a variety of cosplay or live-action role-playing game needs, be sure to check out the Forge of Rath page on Facebook.
And finally, if you have miniatures that need painting and want to be the envy of all your friends, who better than our friends at Night Owl Painting? Be sure to check out the Night Owl Painting page, and that's Night with a K, on Facebook. Welcome to Grey Muzzle Geekery for the week of September 2nd, 2019, episode 30! I'm Dusty Red, and with me as always,
I'm Dusty White.
And we'll get into this week's news. Highly anticipated HBO TV series, The Watchmen, gets its official release date. Mark your calendars, geeks, for October 20th, and join the rest of the superhero vigilantes.
The great Doctor Who eyebrows, aka Peter Capaldi, joins the DC Universe, slated to start production this month. Capaldi has signed on with James Gunn to be a part of Suicide Squad.
Grey Muzzle gamer geeks cheer everywhere as the news of Aladdin and The Lion King are announced to be coming to the Nintendo Switch, PS4, and Xbox One. Yes, the original Lion King and Aladdin video games.
With comments like, Joker will change superhero cinema forever, it's ferociously fierce, and Oscar-worthy, Warner Brothers have screened Joker with rave reviews. Critics everywhere are singing its praise.
First Square registration is open! Come join in the gaggle of fuzzbutts the weekend of February 14th, 2020. Just head over to firstsquare.com to pre-register for your spot in the crowd.
Do you wish to be all that you can't be? Have you ever dreamed of being a mighty warrior, a tricky rogue, resourceful spell sword, or a mage skilled in the arts of healing or damage? Do you want to take part in the stories Dusty and myself tell, or better yet, create stories of your own? Then join us on the weekend of September 13th to 15th at Alliance South Michigan, located Chelsea, Michigan, 1 hour west of Detroit, Michigan. Come and join us for a very special event known as Dragonfall, as we feast and celebrate the death of an eagle dragon once known as Bleak. Be sure to check out the show notes for a link to the pre-registration page.
And boy, are we excited for Dragonfall. Only 2 weeks away, and we're already starting to get our costumes prepped and our gear set up and colored and painted and just, yeah. It is LARP Christmas for us, basically.
Kind of. Have you ever celebrated Christmas in the LARP or in a situation like that, or holidays in-game?
Well, we had, for Nero Kalamazoo, had what they called the Celestial Celebration, where they had the campsite, since it took place in February?
Usually end of January, beginning of February.
So basically cold-ass months in Michigan, where the game would slow down anyway, because you have to remember you are still a human being at its core, playing out in potentially sub-zero temperatures, or with the hazard of ice and snow and such. So the game slows down anyway. It's much like summertime.
Right.
Where you get those 90-degree temps, and you're like, oh, look, I'm in full armor. Ha, 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 ha. So what often happens is for those events, they'll run either some sort of game or some sort of feast or something like that. So definitely for Nero Kalamazoo, they did their Celestial Celebration feast / celebratory thing.
Right. Where
they had a baking contest and a bard contest and like a gift exchange reminiscent to Christmas or Hanukkah or any other winter holiday.
Kwanzaa,
Happy
Festivus.
Merry Festivus for the rest of us. So yeah, but it was very much a gift exchange amongst other players, and there's a set of rules, obviously, and they kind of did that. And obviously you're playing in January, February, so it's stupid cold. You get a few hours of playtime in the daytime because it's a high of 20.
Right.
And then once you hit nighttime where it's single digits, you're like, okay, we're going to stay inside of a heated mess hall, kitchen,
area. Right. Tavern.
Yeah, the tavern. And, celebrate like that. The only other things I can think of is we've definitely done in the past the old Tailwagger games when we had a different crew at the time. And we definitely ran some sort of our own celebratory games of, hey, we're high-level players, and we have a lot of coin, and we're just going to...
We'd really like to stop having a lot of coin. Let us give it to the group or to the other groups.
Other groups and back to the game, and just kind of promoted the game itself, because we as players ran it.
Right.
Rather than it being a story team or a plot team that ran it, we as players ran it coincide or hand in hand with the plot teams. So that was a lot of fun, and that wasn't so much a celebratory of anything
like
other than...
a holiday.
Yeah, it wasn't a holiday. It was just us literally pissing away money. Whereas now you have here at Alliance South Michigan, you have Dragonfall, which is as mentioned before, a celebratory, momentous festival for Bleak, a big badass dragon who was killed. And that dragon was definitely a true and proper dragon in the sense of it took, 5 years?
Roughly, yeah. From what the stories that I've heard in-game or out-of-game, either or, so of their PCs getting together and multi-chapter plots ending and things like that.
So it's definitely a long-term plot line that caused, permanent death of some major characters and some friends become enemies, enemies become friends, and some story progresses, and so it's a
what? Where did that come from?
It's a Family Guy reference.
Sorry.
It's all right. So obviously, because of this big bad dragon being killed, they have a festival every year, which is a good way for the plot team to be able to send in NPCs or nobility type characters or other important characters to further along stories, to have players kind of come together and celebrate something that was really big for the game. And also in a way, kind of, they will argue with us a little bit, because I know some of the plot is argued, where they say thank you to us and we say thank you to them. Thank you to them for running the game, and they say thank you to us for showing up to the game. But it is a big mutual, group hug of, hey, we're playing this game together, regardless of characters having drama in between each other. It's still good to remember that we all play this game, that there is a level of out-of-gameness that exists, that, we're part of we're part of a club. We're part of an organization. It's not a business, so to speak. That was one of the hardest things for me to learn, because usually I'm put your money where your mouth is, and if you're not going to be happy with a game or something, then you just stop showing up. Where in actuality, it's a lot of reach out and try to help and try to figure out what's the failings. How can we make it better? How can we make this club and this organization work? Rather than just going, I paid my $50 and I'm not happy, so I'm never showing up again.
Okay. So the original question was, have you ever celebrated any other type of holidays?
Yeah, I just answered it twice. How about you?
I was going to ask, you usually have Halloween, or you have, there's Fae Games in April. There's been...
We had, Festival of the Dead that happens in October?
Yeah.
Depending how that goes, that's... depending what game you're playing as well.
Right.
But I know for Nero Grand Rapids and Nero Kalamazoo did the whole Death Takes a Vacation.
Right.
And so a lot of spirits come eeping out of nowhere because death is around.
The
veil
veil
between
is
life
thin.
and death is thinned out. So I guess that's a celebration, sort of. I mean, there was the Midnight Circus that happened at one time we were at Nero Kalamazoo.
True.
And the plot guy, hit his phone in the cabin?
Yeah. Alarm went off at like 2 a.m.
And what was it playing?
Circus.
But it was like a creepy, distorted version.
Like
of it.
a metalhead version. It was very distracting as I was trying to sleep.
Well, I mean, that's what we get for trying to go to bed on Saturday at 2 a.m, so.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure it was Friday.
Oh,
it was
Saturday
early.
morning.
Oh, okay. Yeah, got it. I know from my experience, I've had lots of middle of March, beginning of April events that have had Easter egg themed. Platt likes to some of the chapters that I used to roll in like to hide little gifts or plot hooks or plot devices in the little plastic eggs out in the middle of the woods.
Yeah, they kind of did that whole, like, spring is hatching type thing. Because obviously you want to refrain from religious references as much as possible, especially in these games. So, yeah,
it always tends to be Fae aligned, Fae games.
Which is just about as dangerous as, religion, so.
Dusty, if you ever encounter her in game, just ask her about opening a golden egg in the middle of the tavern and watch her eyes twitch.
I mean, you want to tell the story here, or?
Foig.
Okay.
So the reason I asked that is because I know at our chapter when we ran Highborn, we did the Lost Hour.
Yes.
And that was a pretty interesting plot device that we had.
I wouldn't call it a festival, so to speak, or a holiday, but yes, because you guys had a tendency of running your event during the
time change.
Yeah, whatever is fall back.
Fall back, yeah.
So logistically, it is 2:00, then it turns 3:00, but because of time change, it's 2:00 again.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the lost hour.
Right.
And during that lost hour, the veil has basically thinned, and figments of the past, essences or characters who were before what they are now, or plot devices, plot hooks, or whatnot, would appear in the tavern. And it was fitting because usually that time change happened on Saturday night into Sunday morning.
And everybody was already up and tail end.
Yeah, everybody was pretty much like hunkering down for the night.
Right.
Like, you're like, okay,
you're ready for story time.
Story time or packing up or kind of like getting ready. So yeah, it was very clever, and it worked in a number of ways for you guys to be, hey, it's 2 a.m. on, air quote, Sunday morning, Saturday night, Sunday morning. Everybody's pretty much tired or done from playing because you guys had the big Saturday night roll-off and all this other stuff. So everybody's kind of tapped or done or kind of like, okay, that was a good event. They can kind of talk about it, whatnot. But then all of a sudden, 2:00 hits, and then you guys start rolling out.
The entire plot team rolls out as something. We have a timekeeper. Usually the way we like to have done it was because we like to be on point for time. And a lot of the times when you're LARPing or you're telling a story as a plot person, you can also get completely engaged in the conversation.
Oh, you lose track of time. 100%.
Lose track of time. So we usually had the entire plot team roll out, minus one person, kind of out of game, white headband kind of thing, roaming around. And as soon as that hour was done, it was basically like some form of notification, either a whistle or something like that, just to signify for us, now the time's gone.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think you guys rang the big giant dinner bell when the 2:00 hit.
Yeah.
Like, somebody would be outside with the white headband, so the out-of-game person would be, standing next to the bell, would wait for it to hit 2:00, and then just start ringing a bell. And in-game, we would just see the bell ringing by itself, because obviously the white headband means they're not there.
Right.
So this bell would be ringing, and then all of a sudden, like, you guys would either appear in certain areas, or you guys would walk in, because some of you were already in the tavern, and then you would appear at the sound of the bell. A couple other would, like, walk into the tavern as if it was a bright summer's day. Just like, oh yes, that was a mighty fine, bandit that we killed earlier. That was a good day. But then we're able to interact, and it was at one point where most of us didn't realize it was like 3 years in a row that we're interacting with basically the head bad guy.
Right.
That we didn't know he was the big bad guy before he turned into some sort of crazy undead monstrosity.
I kind of remember the first time we did it as memorable for me because it happened to have encountered... Because we as a plot team kind of had talked about it, kicked it around of like, okay, is it going to be like... Back to the Future? Are they going to have a way to kind of affect what's going to happen?
You guys going to fade out from the photo?
We really had kicked around a lot of different ideas, and then it just ended up being between myself and my other plot person, Casey, of just a conversation because we came in as basically ourselves, but from the up and coming plotline coming, or what they had kind of started to deal into as players of learning that we were star-crossed lovers, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And they basically were just like, one of the players just decided, okay, you're going to do this. You're going to turn into a lich. You're going to do all these bad things. You're going to turn into a mummy, and basically just laid it out to us. And we were just like, okay, we're going to see how this goes. And basically, depending on how the players kind of wrote the story, they didn't really try to make changes, but just kind of confirmed facts. Mm-hmm. We were like, okay, it'll just continue on and they can choose to do what they want with it. So it was just a real good growing situation. And again, just one of those thoughts in a bucket that happened to pan out and was great and memorable. And I would love to do it in a similar fashion down the line.
Oh, who knows? Some of our listeners might end up seeing something similar if plot should happen, because there's some big announcements that were also made for Alliance South Michigan.
Right.
Saying that they're looking for one-off plot stories or plot like weekends.
Right.
To more or less encourage people who feel intimidated by running a whole season, running a whole year of plot.
It's like putting your foot in.
Yeah, I mean, when you play like Dungeons and Dragons or Iron Claw or any of these tabletop games, Shadowrun, haha, for Squared theme. You play these kind of role playing games. You play, and even in some advanced board games, you generally tend to take like the easier scenario or the easier situation, so you're not overwhelming yourself.
Right.
Because there are a list of rules you still have to learn. There's still and there's more than just like, we know Alliance 2.0 rules fairly well. We do not know all of the rules, because we are also hampered by what we need to know as our particular characters and classes. So as a rogue, I obviously know more about roguey things than I do about caster things.
Right.
Much like you know more about caster things than you would say fightery things. Natural progression. That said, when you take those kind of roles of a plot person or a storyteller and such, you need to know as many, if not all, and then some of the rules as possible. Because there will be situations that may come up that may not be clearly defined in the rules.
Right.
Or may have that, well, the wording says this, but they mean this. The spirit means this, so... And generally, you want to be quick on the call on that, so then the games just get underway. Because a lot of times, too, mistakes get fixed after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you fell over or something happened, or we blew a rules call, we'll fix it. Don't worry about it. We'll take care of it in post. Just roll with it now, which is one of the best things a good player will do, is roll with it and fix it later, rather than stand there, throw a hissy fit, oh, that's cheating, or you suck, or blah, blah, blah. Just roll with it, go, you know what? We'll talk later. Okay, cool. Go with it. And then later I'd be like, so what the hell happened? No, we made a mistake.
Let's check it out. Let's make sure that next time it's resolved and before it's even a thing.
And even look at it closer and go, so what happened? What caused that? So anyway, going back to plotting, it's good to do these like one weekend module days or module affairs where you could go in and put your feet in the water and see, hey, you know what? I kind of like this, or I kind of don't, or at least I get a better understanding of what these guys go through. How can I be a better player to these guys who are plotting, who do this for, a regular, a full season, and then some. And then obviously it does give these guys a break as well. They've been running consistently for like 10 years, and so it's good to be like, hey, were, some of the other players, like, again, you and myself have plotting experience. We have experience with other games. So, if I'm not mistaken, you and I will be running an event sometime next year.
Right. Sometime next year, there's an opportunity for a couple of different people to step out and do it. I personally love plot. I enjoy it. It gives me opportunity to take all of the things that I listen to, that I watch, that I read, and change subtle things or large, broad strokes of things and morph those things or morph those ideas or morph those like plot lines, I guess I should say, those plot hooks into a game that I already enjoy. And I can write and portray a great story to someone else. I love plot. I just also don't have the ability to commit to a full season based on the fact that it's the chapter that I would prefer to plot in because I trust the owners, I trust the players, that kind of thing. It's all interwoven.
Sure.
It's 4 hours away.
If we're lucky. If traffic is good, it's a 4-hour drive. From Chicago to Chelsea, Michigan.
When I ran Highborn, it was at max, I think, an hour and 20 away, or not even that, maybe 40 minutes away, somewhere in between that range. And it meant showing up on a Friday night, unpacking NPC camp, running the event, packing up NPC camp, and then going home on Sunday and being hopefully passed out and dead to the world by 3. That would not be feasible if I was running a chapter in 4 hours away. Although one of our chapter owners does do that.
For sure.
Congrats for them.
Well, and I know, and that's one of the things too, should we run an event together? Like, I am planning on being the driver. So I am planning on not so much being plotty plot guy, but just give you stats and go play. Yeah, give me some stat cards, give me some sticks, and I will entertain people. Give me a pre-written thing, or like I will. And you know what? Realistically, too, I'll be able to write stuff on the side. I'll be able to write things beforehand. Right. But at the event, I am not expecting to make any calls on like, oh, maybe this or maybe this. I'm gonna go. Let me know what I need to do. Right. Give me this thing and I will go do that. You want me to go with a pocket full of coin and just dance in the woods until somebody kills me? Like, fine. I'll go do that. Whatever fits the story. I know that I know that anybody that be interested in running a plot weekend, they need that motivation just to do it, because you may have a great idea for a 30-hour event versus, hey, I've got a season I have to run. For sure. It's over daunting for sure. So I am really excited about this idea. And it's already built into the world, the way the world has been built in general for Dragon Reach, to have this, I think they named it Shattered Realms. Shattered Realms, yeah. That gives the opportunity to go explore other things other than this main location that you PCs or that your adventurers always go to. There's almost a continuation, almost like fill in your own adventure. Oh, choose your own adventure. Choose your own adventure type of feel to go and do these other things. It's so much more world building as well. And again, a lot of it too is not only just world building, but it's community building. You get an idea for everybody's strengths and weaknesses as a player, not so much as a character, because everybody's going to try to make themselves as perfect as possible, as awesome as possible. But as a player of the game, you start to see where some of your gaps are. Again, I know some of my failings are in terms of casters and learning how to use magic and all this other stuff. So it gives me the opportunity to learn caster cards or learn different aspects of the game to better the game, to better and assist other and newer players, and to also cut down on the delay time between, like, oh, how did you do that ability? Like, I have an idea of how it's done. My character may not know. You're filling in your own personal mental gaps. Like, it's just it's the first time you play a board game and you're sitting with the rules and everybody's reading the rules together, or that one person knows the rules and they're impatient because they're like, Jesus Christ, we've done this already. Well, now you play a few times, now everybody knows the rules. You play a game that will say, oh, it's going to take, 4 to 6 players and it'll take 4 to 6 hours long. You're able to plow through it. Oh, are we talking about Battlestar Galactica all of a sudden? Yeah, Ian's still a Cylon, right?
Right.
Okay, Ian's a Cylon.
Yeah, Ian's a Cylon. Hashtag Ian's a Cylon.
Hashtag Ian's the Cylon. But...
Got him.
Got him. No, but yeah, so once you have an idea of the game and the game's rules and such, then you're able to play faster, you're able to play more effectively, you're able to get more out of the game, because again, it goes back to when you're not thinking about the rules, you're able to immerse yourself in the situation and immerse yourself into the game and the environment it's weaving, and then you could go on and do additional character building from there. So yeah, I'm nervous, but I'm excited to go and just
what else might you be nervous and excited about upcoming, Red?
About a particular contest that we have to deal with?
Yeah, maybe.
America's Next Top Podcaster with Brian Ibbott. Yeah, so we are in some of the secret Discord chats, and like talking to some of the contestants and like seeing all these personalities.
I feel like there's so much hesitancy for anybody to really talk in them. Like, there's a little bit of chatter, but it's one of those things of, I think people are just ready to find out what their teams are so that there can be a little bit more getting to know one another than, I'm nervous. I know I'm personally nervous to say the wrong thing or...
See, that's the difference between you and I. Like, you're all nervous and, like, hesitant, and I shut the chat room down with a frickin', oh my goodness, Jenner joke.
Caitlyn
Jenner, there we go. Like, I threw a Caitlyn Jenner joke, and I was being, on point with Caitlyn Jenner, and everybody got quiet. And I was like, alright, gotcha. So, yeah, it's interesting to see and kind of get a feel, because that's the other thing, too, is... From the sound of it, from the look of it, you and I probably have the most unique
niche of
podcasts, between LARPing, between furries, basically between being not ourselves.
I wouldn't say necessarily niche podcasting, only because some of the other, at least for season 1, and some of the other players from this season have said they ran Shadowrun podcasts or Overwatch podcasts. Yeah, that's really niche.
But it's super hyper-specific, which is why those podcasts kind of poo-pooed away when the popularity of the one that, like, I'm going to do a podcast. How many more Game of Thrones podcasts are going to be left now?
Right.
Like, I remember there was a bunch of Game of Thrones podcasts so it ran its course, which is awesome. And I'll never discredit something like hey, did you listen to my Diablo 2 podcast? Nobody really plays, but hey, maybe there's that small group and they get 40 listeners that listen to that. So it's good to have niche.
One of the people that are our judges is Scott Johnson, and he started the instance 10, 15 years ago.
How many people are going to start listening to that again now that World of Warcraft...
Did the classic release?
Is now classic release. Does that stuff
become relevant again? Yeah.
Oh, it goes through cycles.
I would love to see what the outcome is that is.
Well, we should ask. We actually ask him if his analytics are there and be like, hey, like World of Warcraft Classic and Bell Bottoms have come back. Like, what are we doing? Is your instance podcast? Like, or if not, can you advertise your instance podcast and be like, hey, I remember going through this when you guys were still in diapers. Do you want to play now and do this? Like, it was 15 years ago?
Right.
So...
the instance was the first thing I started listening to. Even though I didn't play the game, I remember... I really honestly do remember it.
So what got you, a non-World of Warcraft player, to listen to a World of Warcraft podcast?
Honestly, the production value. He put a lot of effort into segments, production value, being entertaining, and just being knowledgeable about the topics that he talked about.
So nothing that we have to offer. Not a damn thing. Thank you.
But I look back at it now, and I know I'm stuttering and I apologize, but I look back at it now and look at all of the other podcasts that I tend to listen to. They all have that thread of production value in them. It's not, I'm talking in a tin can trying to record down the middle.
It's not NPR.
Well, I do like NPR. Like, NPR has there's certain...
But they have the monotone that you say that, welcome to Grey Muzzle Geekery. I'm your host, Dusty Red. With me as always,
Dusty Right.
And we'll get into this week's news. Now,
that's very news talk radio, and that's the old days of...
No, you gotta go old days. Nah, now we listen here. See?
So I do enjoy a very well-produced podcast. All of the ones I listen to, I would say that's why I enjoy working with you and doing the podcast as we do it, because we do grow and produce something.
I did make the mistake, and even though it's only been 6 months, I did make the mistake of listening to like our first 5 podcasts going, holy crap. So it's good to, even from my limited experience, because I'm not a big, again, I listen to a lot of like comedy podcasts.
Could you imagine being like the instance and having a catalog that big to look back and listen to an episode from the first, the second, or the third year?
And assuming we're still going in a year or so, I'm sure we're going to listen to this particular episode and go, fuck, Dusty talks a lot. Which one, I.E. or Y, you guys get to pick. But, I mean, there's going to be things, and obviously, yeah, we do make a bit of an effort to try to put pieces together, make it sound clear, you know.
Not sound like we're talking
muffled.
In an elevator.
Yeah, talking from the next room, like, welcome to Grey Muzzle Geekery, I'm Dusty Red, and I'm here to talk. So we do make a point to, like, be clear, be concise, to have a little bit of the audio at the beginning. And again, we talked to Pepper Coyote to see if he could let us use what we use for the intro, which is a damn good song, by the way. I still one of my favorite songs of his. But I talked to him. I'm like, hey, I would really like to use your music to start the podcast. So it is little things like that, which are all going to have to come in handy when we do this contest.
I know, that's the part I'm nervous about, because you've handled a lot of the production just because of the location that we record in.
You mispronounced that word.
What did I do?
All of the production.
Okay. All right, listen. No, you have the time, the space, and the location to do it up until recently.
You got a laptop, you got a mic now.
We're going to make it work.
Which, again, thanks to our Patreon listeners, we actually did manage to get another microphone, so you'll be able to record from a distance now, mainly because I am worried it's going to be a very, very crappy snowy winter this year.
Yeah.
And I do not want you driving the hour in like podunk. Because at least before you're driving, at least you're driving, you know, down major highways.
Halfway.
Now you're like, well, you take the dirt road to Route 23.
Okay, I don't live in podunk.
Yeah.
I still live in a northwest suburb.
Okay. And then as soon as you drive 10 minutes out of that northwest suburb, yum, podunk. So, yeah. So, obviously, we got a mic and a laptop for you there, so we'll be able to have you hooked up from home and be able to call in or radio in or Skype in with me or something. Smoke signals.
Oh, there we go.
Like, how are you today? We have 4.5 hour podcast and we get through one topic, just like most of our podcasts, actually. Anyway, so yeah, so we're getting all that set. We'll be competing against each other. Are you nervous against going up against the red?
No.
Allow myself to introduce myself.
No, I think it'll be great. I think that from what I've been listening to for season 1 and some of the, you know, call it skip tracing, call it Facebook stalking, whatever you want to call it, that I've been doing on the contestants for this year, this season. I'm interested to see the dynamics. I'm interested to learn about other people that just decided to randomly go. Because let's look at the outside perspective. Absolutely. Of at some point we decided our conversations are interesting enough to record for audiences now and possibly for the future.
Absolutely. And even
so
then
I'm interested to see the dynamics between other people that were just like, let me record something.
And that's one of the things we're both listening to as well, as a big portion of the show, the contest itself, is asking yourself, why do people care?
Right.
So it is a question, and that's something that we kind of sort of poke you listeners a little bit. Is like, why do you care? Why do you guys listen to us? We're obviously drop us lines at greymuzzlegeekery@gmail.com, and let us know some. I mean, honestly, we've gotten some good feedback. We got a lot of listener questions and stuff, and getting other feedback onto what is interesting, because that's one thing also that we're still doing, is still trying to find our niche a bit. I do want to maintain a wide variety of geek topics.
Right.
I obviously dance in the furry culture. You as well, as much as you say, yeah, fur adjacent. Like you've been to a couple conventions and a few bowling. Like you are in. Actually, in fact, that's one of the questions. I think we might have covered it before on one of these previous episodes, of the question of, when do you consider yourself, or when do you become a thing? Like, when
do you become a part of the fandom that you're outskirting, or you are researching?
Do you have to LARP for a year to call yourself a LARPer? Or can you go to one event and go, yeah, I'm a LARPer?
Yeah, right.
And this is what you do. So it's just one of those things of...
There's also the outside perspective of how far in do you go until other people start identifying you as something.
Well, have you been called by a variety of names? As per, last week's topic, I've been called Dusty. You have been called Dusty outside of...
Right.
Outside of there. I mean, has anybody called you Stubblebutt recently?
No.
Oh, okay.
Luckily.
Got it.
Thanks.
Uh-huh.
Just bringing that back around.
I ain't letting that die.
All right. Thanks. Jerk.
Uh-huh. So yeah, ultimately, the contest is exciting. It doesn't seem like there's any crazy glamorous prize, which I'm actually more excited about, because it is a case of a lot of lessons to be learned on how to do this, how to get along with each other, and to get along with other people.
Those group projects.
I still fucking hate group projects, but it'll still be an ability to take input, maybe learn how to better do some settings for Audacity, or how to increase and improve microphone skills, and how to get rid of the ums and uhs and the and dead air.
Or even just segue into maybe even a different style. We're obviously very conversationalist style as far as me and you, but who's to say that we don't spring off another episode another podcast that's something that is more segmented or history-based, or...
We turn this into more of a segment-based thing.
You have the grand scheme of things of where to go and what avenues to travel. Again, 10, 100, 30, 300 episodes from now, you look back and go, oh, okay, those were my growing pains. I even look at something that's majorly produced, like My Favorite Murder or Lore now, and they're 4 years in. Lore's got a thing on Amazon, a TV show on Amazon every season. Something like that started with a dude probably sitting in his closet reading a script and thinking, I'm creating something that I like to create. Will someone else listen?
And I agree. And I think we, in particular, unless we take a route that is more like that, I think we're still going to be in a niche type group, because we are more conversational. We are more, again, talking about LARPs.
Right.
Talking about fur cons and other subcultures like that. Talking about some board games and whatnot. But unless we segment or focus a little bit, like... We'll kind of, I don't see us a TV show, and I hope not. Like, again, I have a face made for podcasting. We talked about that already.
Well, it also goes back to what other audience we're looking to bring in, too. Like, I personally I'm going to get held over the coals for this, I'm sure, but I do not like lowbrow humor. I don't like movies like Dumb and Dumber and a lot of older Jim Carrey
poopy potty
movies.
jokes.
Yeah.
I like the poopy potty jokes and dick jokes.
Yeah, they're just like, I'll laugh at them.
I'm a 4-year-old and I giggle at poop jokes.
But I just don't want that. I would not be a podcaster, or I would not be a good form of entertainment for somebody that's looking for that, because it's not going to happen from me. So it also kind of breed your own podcast to your audience that you enjoy doing it. Like, even this last season talks about, I don't like food. One person was like, I don't like food shows. Now, obviously, reality shows have a lot of food-based reality shows. Right. And she's like, I don't have anything to offer to this week, blah, blah, blah. And they still were able to create something that was interesting.
Well, that's the thing is, a lot of it is research. It becomes, and I think it's going to be different doing this contest versus what we do. Like, we do some research and then we talk using our knowledge and our experience. Here's going to be, unless we get lucky and fall on a topic.
Podcast.
Yeah, unless they're like, hey, you guys do a podcast on video games or a podcast on XYZ topics, and we're all in, like, done, got it. But unless it's like, hey, we're going to have you do a podcast on, I'm trying to think of a show that I haven't watched, which is all of them, Grey's Anatomy.
There you go.
That's
a show. Good job.
But I don't know why it's Grey Muzzle, Grey Anatomy. Shut up. It's one track mind. So, but if I do that, then I'm going to look to my team and go, I will edit. I will help write a script. I will do research. I ain't talking about this because I have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm at least not going to
talk about it in a knowledgeable way that makes it sound like I have an
It's
opinion.
Organic. It's organic.
Yeah.
Then it's a big thing, too, is you want to do, especially our style as well, as we're conversational. We keep it organic. We keep whatever comes at the top of our heads there, even if we're tangenting 1,000 miles an hour. We're still in a sense of we are in confidence saying what we believe or saying what we think, rather than sitting there with a script in front of us and going, did you know the human head weighs 8 pounds?
Right.
Oh, come on. Another movie reference. Give me some love here.
No.
No?
No.
Was it 12 pounds? That's 8 pounds.
I don't know.
Go watch your Jerry Maguire. Go away. So.
Show me the money?
Anyway. So yeah, all in all, like, we're pretty excited about this contest. We're actually going to start the recording process next week.
Monday, yeah.
So next Monday, the 9th. There we go. Time is a linear. Anyway.
Wibbly
wobbly time. So we're going to be recording in the next couple weeks, which means that we may or may not have a week off.
We'll see.
We may or may not throw in some filler episodes. Again, we still have listener questions that we did, and we'll have another opportunity to record some listener questions. So it may very well be me just putting together the listener questions and taking care of some stuff, and maybe have Dusty White I'll have her just say a bunch of stuff. And then I'll just, haphazardly
Suddenly
chop it.
I start sounding like AI.
I just chop you into, hello, welcome to...
Why did Dusty White start sounding like Alexa?
Hello. Everybody's just activated. Hello, welcome to Grey Muzzle Geekery. I'm Dusty Red, and I'm Dusty White. Welcome to Recalculating. So we'll see how that goes. I'm just giving you guys a heads up now because, we're going to take some listener questions. So again, I'm going to keep pushing. If you guys have listener questions that you would like for us to answer, send them to us at Grey Muzzle Geekery at gmail.com. Or on our Discord
page. That's geekery, not kookery, whatever you were going to say.
Gay Muzzle. Gay Man Rod has something to say. Grey Muzzle Geekery at gmail.com. Or you can send it to us on Discord, and there'll be a link to our Discord server in the
show
notes below. I'm pointing down. On an audio medium, pointing down.
Absolutely.
And give us some questions because we will have the trip to Dragonfall.
Yep.
And on that 4.5 hour drive, we have a little opportunity to sit and do some recording. So realistically, if I could get like 2 hours of stuff during that trip, that buys us 2 weeks of time while we're doing this podcast show.
He's really hoping he makes it to, past week 1.
Yeah, no, we still got a bet, right? We got a bet.
We did make a bet this weekend.
So we had our lawyer friends keep an eye on it, and so if you get eliminated before I do, you are to do a shot of Malort on air. And you are to explain and because obviously nobody can see your face, I will have pictures ready though. So we will, maybe we'll just webcam that one and throw it on YouTube or something to your response of that. And if I get eliminated, you said you're going to do what?
I am going to reach out to, I don't know, maybe even our Jersey listener, not our New Jersey listener, but our Jersey listener, and try to find the happiest hoppiest of hop beers that I can...
Beer, singular. We said just one beer I am drinking.
Beer that you have to drink if you get eliminated before
we're talking some serious IBU here because I don't like hoppy beers. Like, Saisons are my limit, and those are what, like 35, 40 IBU or something? Like, Zombie Dust is the first thing that came to my head. Some people were saying that there's some double crazy IPAs.
I can't wait.
Yeah, that's... I'm looking forward to you drinking that Malort shot. Now, if either of us are eliminated week 1...
Which is not possible, but okay.
No, I mean the first elimination.
Okay.
It's like we walk in like, hi, we're here. Like we walk in like, hi, we're here to participate. And they're like, you could go home.
I don't like you.
What are we doing for that?
I don't know. We'll have to come up with something.
I'm thinking something spicy, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, I have to do like some sort of stupid pepper.
Oh, do a hot ones run through.
We could do. Maybe we'll get something of the Redux or the some sort of the bomb.
I will kill you.
Well, we get a bottle of the bomb.
No, okay, we have friends that have a bottle of the bomb. We are not doing that.
So obviously we'll take suggestions on that one, but I'm kind of leaning to something gross and disgusting if we get eliminated on the first week. Now, obviously, or the first elimination process. Now, obviously, if we survive, then we're not doing that. We'll go back our normal. One of us is drinking
crappy stuff on
some crappy beer or a crappy shot of nonsense. That said, yeah, I mean, we're excited about this contest. It's hopefully going to do us a world of wonders to produce a better show for you guys who have been crazily generous with your time and your dollar bills. I mean, we obviously want to also take this time on our, monthly shout outs to everybody to say thank you very much for listening to us and to give us feedback and to give us your support and just cheer us on and be like, hey, you guys are doing a thing. Because we had a big conversation on, self-doubt and creators not imposter syndromes, so to speak, of like, there's moments where Dusty White and I will look at each other and go, we actually have a podcast.
We do.
Like, people could, go on Apple and go on, iTunes or Google Play or Spotify and find you and me making a thing, which is kind of fucking cool.
It's intimidating. It's exciting. It's for sure for me, especially during this time in my life, a creative outlet that I have really felt like I have flourished in. I don't feel like people get a chance to talk enough about the things that make them happy or make them passionate in a outlet that is as community-based or as celebrated as something like a podcast. I may only be talking to 20 people on a daily basis, but it's something that I can, at the end of the day, be proud of and say, yeah, I did this.
I did a thing. And we're learning skills. I mean, I'm learning audio engineering and I'm about a seat of my pants. But we're learning interview skills. We're learning all sorts of stuff. And hopefully this contest will continue to push us in that direction to do a better show and to just keep chugging along, keep making things.
And network yourself.
And teach you guys, our listeners, something from our somewhat older perspectives. I mean, I know some of our listeners are also a little bit older than us too. We're the Grey Muzzle of the Grey Muzzles. But there's also some younger listeners and some other people from other countries. That was a big, exciting thing to see, is looking at our analytics and looking and seeing that we have people from other countries. And I mean, other than Canada, that listen and that write to us and tell us about, different walks of life, different countries, different styles of viewpoints. Different time zones. And yeah, good morning. It's evening here, but okay, I got you. Good afternoon. I just woke up. Let me finish my coffee. So, but no, it's really good. It's really exciting. And we are obviously happy to be part of this, and we're happy to continue to do these episodes. We're happy to learn some things and to bring you guys some geeky news and outlets. And we're hoping to do some stuff in the near future. It's going to be kind of exciting. one thing we already have, we do have our stickers. Our stickers are in and are done. We are getting new business cards soon.
Correct.
And we're going to be getting some photos that we'll be autographing and mailing out to our Patreons. So if you want your bumper sticker or...
nicely made vinyl sticker
it's a vinyl
that could be replaced on said bumper.
It is a 2-inch... 2-inch diameter. No, 2.5. Yeah, no, it's a 3-inch. 3 inch. We have 3-inch diameter sticker of the Grey Muzzle Geekery podcast logo. And that is at the $3 Patreon mark. The $1 Patreon mark gets you access. It gets you special title into the Grey Muzzle Geekery Discord server.
Yep.
And allows you to access our bloopers and other nonsense that I happen to throw up there. Some musings. I'm actually going to start writing some musings and some other things.
Oh no!
I'm
yelling into the clouds.
Well, I still got to do that thing of our time when we were at St. Joe when the kid is wandering around and almost walks into traffic, and a dad looks at his kid and is like, oh, it's like somebody else stops the kid from walking into traffic. Like, we're talking like a 3-year-old, 2-year-old.
Oh, barely. A toddling toddler.
Staggers towards oncoming traffic, and somebody else grabs the kid, and the dad's just like, I guess it takes a village. And I'm very loudly like, no, it doesn't. So. Sometimes
your filter is just, lacking.
Oh, it's gone. Oh, yeah. Or what's the other one of my favorite sayings that drove me up a damn wall of, I can't think of it offhand, and I something. I'll have to think of it later. I can't think of
it. You're totally, as other listeners would understand if they listen to the podcast, they're totally Johnsoning this right now.
Oh, Johnsoning this?
Yeah. Because Scott Johnson will talk in his podcast, and he'll be like, I gotta tell you something, but I can't tell you yet. I gotta find it out. I gotta figure it out.
Well, that's not helping me any because I know I was doing a thing and I had a madness and you're supposed to send me and I can't remember.
I don't remember.
I was mad. I was going to rant about something about combat. Anyway, so we're hoping to... So any of that stuff that gets updated, we'll have up for the $1 Patreon. They have access to that. At $3, you'll get your bumper sticker and you'll have all of the Tier 1 rewards. And then what we'd call them, the Distinguished Dorks.
Yeah.
So we have the Grey Muzzle Geeks, the Distinguished Dorks, and then the Grey Muzzle Fan Club at $5 a month. That'll get you your bumper sticker, your signed card, the access to the server, and all the additional uploads that we do. And if we have some goals as well. And if we could hit the $75 a month goal, we will do an additional little show just for our Patreon listeners. Yep. And it'll have either, some sort of insight that you have or maybe a board game review or something else. But when we hit I think I have it at $125 right now.
Okay.
Or we'll adjust it. If we hit $125 a month, we're thinking of doing a game review, a board game, card game, or whatever. And then when we're done with that, to raffle the game to our Patreon supporters.
Right.
So if you're in there, you get chances thrown into a hat, and we will give our listeners a board game a month.
Right.
So, and it's one of the ones I'm already looking at right out the gate will probably be...
can even look into Steam codes and stuff like that.
Well, we can do Steam codes. I was thinking right out the gate of doing Betrayal at Baldur's Gate.
Yeah. I want that game.
We can definitely do something like Dominion, some card deck building games, or like the DC Heroes game that we played over the weekend.
Uh-huh.
Maybe a How to Lose Your Friends. I mean, a game of Battlestar Galactica. Another one that's good like that, though, is Shadows over Camelot. These are all games I've played and whatnot. So these are kind of things that we're hoping to do if we continue to get support from you guys. And, have some board games ready, man. That'd be awesome. We could actually start auctioning these and mail these to you guys and be like, hey, you're a listener and you got a freaking board game.
And by auction, he means raffle.
Well, raffle, not auction. There's no money involved. It's you guys give us money give us $1 for the Patreon and we will put your name in a hat and probably we're talking even $1 to get 1 entry, $3 to get 2 entries, and the $5 to get 3 entries. And we'll throw it into a hat and hey, you guys win some board games. So anyway, just going on with some of the future plans here for Grey Muzzle because we're
always look to the future, look forward.
Hey, we're just getting started anyway, right?
Right.
We got quite a bit of passion here, and we're very, very happy to continue forward. And you know what we say about passion, right, Dusty? Right?
What's that, Red?
That we are all geeks, and to be otherwise may very well mean to live without passion. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Grey Muzzle Geekery with Dusty Red and Dusty White.
You can support our continued geekery at our Patreon website, patreon.com/Grey Muzzle Geekery. Be sure to check back often as we start to add geek cred levels.
You can send your questions and comments to us at greymuzzlegeekery@gmail.com or find us on Twitter at greymuzzlegeek.
We can be found on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and Buzzsprout.
And a special thank you to Pepper Coyote for our intro theme. And if you like what you heard, you can find more of his stuff on Spotify, Patreon, or directly from his Bandcamp page.